Welcome to the Earth is Ghetto podcast. And we have an awesome show for you today. We actually have a special guest, but first and foremost, I am Sydney. My pronouns are she, her, they, them. I'm good with any of the four. And then my amazing co-host, Aaron.
Hey y'all, it's your favorite Butch Queen, Aaron. Pronouns are they, them, giving you all the tea and all the shade. Yeah, up here, you know the vibes. Like, girl, we go through this every episode, girl.
You know what I'm saying? But we actually have an awesome new guest with us today that we are going to be doing an interview with. This is Marshall Bradley. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Marshall, like I was introduced, and I go by the pronouns he, him. And yes, I don't have a beard, but I got a butch. I'm a butchie. But yes, but other than that, I'm honored to be on your podcast. Thank you so much for bringing me on.
Oh, awesome. So let's get into, because this shit's still going on. So let's do the mental health check-in. I know it's gonna be quick. Where are we in reference to our mental health? Aaron, how you holding up?
I've been having very much like a fuck it kind of attitude lately. And we're gonna talk about it soon in one of the topics. But girls, sometimes that's what you have to do to be able to make it, because literally it's so much stuff going on. As you know, I quit my job because, again, no job is worth your dignity or being disrespected. And I haven't been doing shit. I've been laying my ass in the bed, not being quote unquote productive. I've been doing what I want to do because capitalism has been kicking my ass. So I'm taking the rest of the month off. So yeah, that's my mental health. Just fuck it.
I like that. Okay. And how you feeling, Marshall?
Look, I'm kind of in the same boat right now, but I don't give one fuck, two fuck, three fucks, four. But right now I'm in the process of getting a new job, because my job right now, I'm paint instructor, and I'm over it. I'm done. I can't do it no more. Because if these checks are coming in late, then I'm not going to be doing the effort that I usually put in. So that's what it is right now. And also with me, I'm just living my bucket list right now. So I'm on a podcast, and I did my first fashion show last night, and so that's what I'm doing, and still staying on my small Black business stuff with my art. So that's what it is.
That's what's up.
He is very talented. Like I don't know if you've seen his artistry, but the talent is there.
Listen, I mean, we're Black and queer. The talent is always there, but I now need to see your stuff. I'm just saying. As far as I am concerned, Jesus, it is it's hard. Like just going through regular life right now, watching all of these systems implode, literally watching us kind of go back in time every day. It's hard to kind of lift yourself out of depression. I'm trying to get myself to fuck it, because I'm really in the spot where I care a little bit too much. I'm feeling a little bit too much, and I'm like, damn, if I didn't do this show, I wouldn't be watching the news. I'm not trying to blame y'all or nothing. I'm just saying. I just want to let you know I'm dedicated. You feel me? But it's been kind of difficult, in that way, trying to find like normalcy, because you can't be on high all the time. Like my anxiety, my poor little heart can't take it. I can't do that 24/7. You feel me? But that's where we are. Basically, fuck it and panic attacks. This is where we are right now. But I am so excited to get straight into this interview. Because I really want to know about, because we have to continually remind ourselves that we are not a monolith. So it is important to hear different stories, to show the differences, to show the similarities. So I'm excited. So first and foremost, Marshall, tell us a little bit about your background and just your experience in general with being Black and queer.
It's an up and down story, for real though. So I grew up in the church, like most of us do. And so, yes, praise God, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. But but for me, a lot of my friends that are Black or of color, that are queer or identify in the LGBTQIA plus community, they're really, for me, I love them, and I also have to tell them like, hey, I still love Jesus. I say Jesus every time he answers my prayers, but I don't take it into effect like, hey, you're a demon. And I'm just like, this is what God is telling me. And I had to, like, I always bring up T.S. Madison in this, like, God talks to me in the way that he wants to talk to me and not the way that he talks to other people, especially our white capitalists. But so for me, growing up in the church, it was always like, oh, I am going to hell. So because of all the things that I've been hearing and still do hear on a daily basis sometimes, because I'm just like, look, especially with watching TV shows now, where they're like, oh, you're finally being inclusive. Go ahead and add some gay characters, yes. But sometimes my family's like, oh my gosh, that's like disgusting, like ew, like ugh. And I'm like, they're not talking about you. They're trying to open up to a new experience right now. So that's another part of my growing up. So it's always battling conservative and liberal in that sense in my family, and that's how I grew up mostly. And then being a product of a separation of parents, it's really hard because it's like, well, I want to be free with y'all, but I can't be free with y'all, and I can't be free with this group, and I could be free with this group in certain parts of my family. So I had, I guess I had accidentally came out um, as bi to my cousins because they followed me on Snapchat. And when I had like a high school boyfriend, I was posting him because I was like, oh, I got a boyfriend. I'm posting.
Yeah.
And so because I wanted to do what all the straight couples were doing in high school. And so my cousins found out and they're like, oh, you gay? I was like, no, I'm bi. But I'm in a boy-boy relationship right now. So gay right now, yes. But they're like, oh, okay, you're cool with me. And it was like, it was really heartfelt that I do have some family that was cool with me about identifying the way that I identify, and not just immediately just like purging me and saying that I'm going to hell and saying that I'm like a mistake or anything like that. So I'm really glad I still have family support like that. And I'm really family oriented. And so that was important. But then it got to like abuse with me and my dad. So like me and my dad, we had a conversation on like what was sexuality or what is even being bisexual. And I'm just like, sir, you still don't know if I'm going to marry a woman. I might marry a man, but that was all in my head. But still, I'm just like, it was still like scary for me to verbalize that to him. But when he found out about one of the high school boyfriends, he was like, "Oh, so you like niggas now?" So it's like, and then when we went on to TV shows, it's like, look at that woman. You want a soft, beautiful woman, right? And instead of like a hairy man, I was like, excuse me, what? I just say, I was talking to my head all the time, but and you don't know how many times that I wanted to like just verbalize it, be like, excuse me, what? you do you know what you're coming out in your mouth? But I just let it kept on going and going and going until eventually it just started getting physical. And I was like, I don't need this no more. This is not for me. So then I had just went with my mom and my stepdad's family. I'm just like, I'm gonna just stay over here because I feel more comfortable over here. Because this is more of a safe space than which you're putting me through. Other than my stepmom and my sisters, like my safe haven, they couldn't be my safe haven for long. And so I just had to go where I was mostly like accepted because it was just like I can't take this, and because I'm calm, I'm cool, and you making me agitated and anxious, and plus I already have ADHD, so I'm just like all around. So I can't get that mentalness out of my head because you keep on putting me in a place where I feel like I'm nobody and where I feel like I should be somebody. So that's mostly my story right there. And right now, I'm just living in my truth more. And
Mhm.
like, cause I'm buying the clothes that I want to buy, and then I'm going to places that I wanted to go, like since I was little, cause I was exposed to all of this like when I was little, cause I had some low key uncles, some down low uncles. But one of my cousins, she's a lesbian, and I was like, when I was little, I was like, you like GIRLS? You like girls? I never heard of that before. It's like, oh. And then it came to when she knew that I was in the community where I showed her Todrick Hall, and I tried to play my straight role so good. I tried to win an Oscar. I said, "Oh look, cousin, there's this guy. He sings really good. He dances really good. I like this. Let me show you a video of this." And then I showed her Todrick Hall, and she was like, and she was older than me. She was like, "Marshall, you like boys?" I was like, "How'd you know?"
Because
So,
your closet was made of glass. Okay. I see you. That's
you
what
right through you. And I was like, okay, well, since I could tell you now, I guess you caught me, but everybody else knows that everybody else, I got an Oscar. I won an Oscar. I've been won an Oscar. That's it. But other than that, it started to help me eventually develop in my truth. So eventually now, where I'm just like, look, this is who I am. You could accept it or not. I don't give two fucks. So that's where I am right now. It's just going with the flow, living my life, and checking off my bucket list one by one. So yeah.
awesome.
Period.
Awesome. So I guess my first question, one of the things that I noticed is that when you were talking about religion and kind of having to deal with the dichotomy of loving God and loving Jesus, and then going into these spaces where there was so much hatred toward you, even though they didn't know it, you
Mhm.
knew how much they actually really hated you. So how do you reconcile that with what you know of religion and so on and so forth? How, like, do you still go to church? Is it just something that you have your own personal relationship with God, or how do you navigate that?
For me, I still do go to church, but I'm one of those churchgoers, and now I'm like, if you come on Easter, if you come on Christmas, then you'll be like, okay, cool. But right now, I just stick to me, myself, and I, and him, and the Bible, and that's it. Because I'm just like, I don't need no extra judgment going on towards me. Uh, Even though I say I am like what I am, I'm just like, nah, I'm just stay away from the toxicity,
Yeah.
because I already know that people already gossip in church and people already say things in church. I'm just like, I don't have time for it. I don't, no, thank you. But I just stay with myself, and I feel like that's the best option for me right now, is because I feel safe
Mhm.
inside inside like my relationship with God, and not like the culture around
Of
it.
Christianity.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so when it comes to the Bible, there's a lot of like contradictions in there, which
Hmm.
is probably one of the reasons that that if you do have a personal relationship with God, whatever the Bible has been saying has been wrong or off for quite some time, at any rate. But being that you still are, reading the Bible and still taking account, how do you kind of navigate those contradictions? Is it just something like where you just kind of take the meat and leave the bone, or do you just start doing more research in religions in general, or how do you navigate it?
Well, for me, I do a lot of research because I've always been a curious mind. So when I do my research on what I read, and I'm like, wait a second, I just remembered huh, there's some books that were taken out a long time ago.
Yeah.
There's stories that nobody knows. So I'm just like, look, I'm reading the Bible. I'm like, oh, that happened. Oh, and that happened. I bet if this would have happened, that would have happened too. And then these two would have got together instead of being with this one, because you never know. Because like Egyptian culture was around. Even though God was like, let my people go, there's still that culture inside of the Hebrews that
Yeah,
God
because that was a whole crazy story. He was like, I'm gonna kill all the firstborns and I'm gonna harden Pharaoh's heart.
Mhm.
Oh.
No,
Like,
really,
it
really.
didn't make any sense. But I've been asking so many questions. I gotta pass it to Aaron. What kind of questions do you have?
So I would say, have you ever come across situations where people are like, oh, well, no, you're not just bisexual, you're actually gay, or like you're actually just using it as like a transformation, like to get to just being strictly, because I hear that a lot too. And there's a huge issue in the Black community of apparently you can't be a black man and bisexual. And I keep like, oh, only Black women can be bisexual, but not Black men. And that is a thing, apparently, which is ridiculous to me. But have you ever come across instances like situations like that?
Oh yeah. I feel like especially in the Black community with being a Black male in America or anywhere else, they're like, don't show your feminine side. Just say it right there. It's right here in this middle lane, right there. Okay, and then and for me, I'm just like, no, I gotta show a little bit of both because when Beyonce comes on, I gotta do a little twerking. I can't I can't just sit still because I'm like, okay. Okay. And so yeah, that has happened because especially when music is the one thing that breaks the mind like, oh, he's just gay and he's just using that as a safety net. But I'm like, no, I'm just a dancer. And with that, I'm just like, do your research before you start talking about something that you don't know nothing about. Because like bringing it back to my dad's situation, he was like, "Do you know what bisexual means?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." It's like bi, like a bicycles too. you, you like
Not breaking it down in
Right.
Latin.
like
Bullet points.
and then I'm like, I like girls. Cause I made sure I said I like girls because like calm down. So I like girls, then I like guys, but I like guys more. And then that's what set them off. It was like, oh,
As soon as you say that more, that's when,
yeah.
oh, well, no, you're just trying to like, yeah. And it also goes into the conversation of like sexuality just being a spectrum as a whole.
Hmm.
I feel like still goes over a lot of people's heads. But yeah, that was something I've noticed because, oh, it's no such thing as, because I saw so many videos of this on TikTok, like, oh, it's no such thing as like a bisexual Black man. I'm like, girl, chances are you slept with one and didn't even know, to be honest, because I've
Hmm.
been seeing some biphobic Black women too.
Hmm.
Yeah. And
So
I
yeah.
Okay.
got questions. Sydney pretty much asked all the questions I was going to ask.
My bad.
Girl.
It's the interviewer in me. I'm like, I have questions.
She's a
No.
journalist.
But now we are going to go ahead and move on to the next topic on the roster. And Ron-Desatan
Oh,
has done quite a bit in the last couple of years. He's been making some very severe moves. So let's talk about it.
You know,
Aaron?
he announced his, like, it was announced that he's running for president. He announced it like last week. So this is confirmed shit, and this is some scary shit. Because yes, Trump was a dumbass, but to have a Ron DeSantis in office who was like stupid, but it's like clever with it, to like, that's some scary shit. Recently, on May 11th, the conservative officials signed SB 1580 into law, which is also known as the Protections of Medical Conscience Bill. Under the archaic legislation, which goes into effect July 1st, doctors and healthcare payers are allowed to opt out of participation in or payment for certain healthcare services on the basis of conscience-based objections, which was defined as religious views or ethical beliefs. So basically, if my ass goes to if I live in Florida and I take my ass to the hospital, they could say, well, because of my religious views, I can't take care of you. That's where they're at right now. So I guess I'm fucked.
You have no religious views. What will they do? It's I think it's really scary, the things that are going on in Florida. I was actually talking to my bestie, hey Hallie, in Florida, and I was telling her I can't come visit anymore. I have been gone from Florida for almost 7 years now. And when I say I just get an itch in my ass, and it's just like, I gotta go to Florida. I'm not gonna be here no more. Fuck you bitches. Like it was so easy for me to just go and lay on Hallie's couch with all of her animals and go take a nap. Like I feel like Snow White in the fucking forest. Like that was my happy place. And to know that that has been completely ripped from me because of all of the laws that are going on. And I can't not live my life the way that I live my life just because I'm in a different state. And I feel like we can all attest, but probably you both more than I, the whole having to play it straight is an exhausting way of life. And it's not just exhausting, it's also traumatizing. It is traumatizing to go ahead and every first reaction you would have to think about that shit. Like that could get me killed. That could get me murdered. I can't do that in this space. I could be disowned. To now know those things that we were going through just within our family structures is now just going to happen with you walking outside. I feel like people aren't scared enough for me. Honestly, that's where I'm at. People aren't scared enough for me.
And I think because so many anti-queer bills have been passed, it's sad to say, but we're just numb to the bullshit. So that's why we're not getting that many reactions. Like, yeah, you like exactly. I shouldn't have had to act like trade all the fucking time. I don't want to do that dumbass shit because that's not
right. Because I'll be like, no, bro, I can't do that. No.
Come on, man.
Like stand in the back, stand in the crowd, be like, but she's dancing. I want to dance too. But it's just like once I was introduced to like all my female figures in my family, I'm just like, well, I guess I'm into the same kind of stuff that you into as well. But I'm going into Florida on the 28th to 31st. So I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And I feel like that's the sad part. It's like we have to really send our like I'm not a Christian, so I won't be like praying to Jesus or anything, but I'm gonna light a candle for you because that's a scary thing to go into a space where you know they hate you. It makes me so scared. Is whether it's Orlando, whether it's and like I'm gonna say this. The reason why I'm not sure if Ron-Desatan is going to pull this off is only because he's trying to fight Disney.
You can't fight the mouth.
That's literally like Hitler against Mussolini. Are y'all sure that's what y'all wanted to do?
Yeah, girl.
I don't know if you wanted to culminate like that because I'm not sure that's what you wanted to do. It's like going up against Disney.
Disney owns the planet at this point.
Yeah,
because you have to remember, all of these companies that ever put a rainbow on anything, they don't care about us. Anybody who's celebrating Juneteenth, fucking Walmart with their watermelon salad, fuck you.
And ice cream.
Nigga, sorry, my bad. I just, sorry. A piece of my spirit jumped out. I couldn't even help myself. Like they don't actually care about anybody, whether it's Nike with Colin Kaepernick, they want your dollars. They want gay dollars. They want gay Black dollars. They want Afro-Latin dollars. They want Latin dollars. They will go ahead and tap dance and bust it wide open and like for anybody who's got the dollar. So when you see random people like, I'm gonna go buy some Stella and Bud Light and pour it down my sink and put a video, I be thinking, but like,
I
I'm
remember
sorry.
that shit. When I saw that shit, I said, y'all have too much time on your hands. And did you also see the one with this white man got his machine gun and just shot up a whole bunch of Bud Light cans?
And if you notice the commonality, they're all white. they're all white males. So I'm just like, oh wow.
Listen, and just not like there's not Black conservatives who will say, oh, I agree with you, but they're not about to waste any of their money burning or shooting shit. They've spent the money on already.
That Herschel Walker. Look at that.
Listen, that I am not one to call people slow, right? But I feel like he is definitely on a different mode than the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? I feel like another thing. I feel like another thing that I really wanted to talk about in reference to Ron-DeSantis in Florida is this new undocumented law that's supposed to be going into effect in July. So now grocery stores are no longer being filled because now even truckers from different states, who by the way could also be undocumented or standing in solidarity with the rest of the other migrant workers, which means how are you going to get your toilet paper, Florida? How are you getting your fruits? How are you getting your vegetables? This is the scary part for me because my parents are not American. Fuck my dad, you can take him. But I am the daughter of immigrants. Do you know what I'm saying? And this type of shit that's going on, it almost feels like slave catching. They're telling Uber drivers you can now ask for their documents because they can get fined for having an undocumented person in their car. DACA recipients, if you live with an undocumented person, you can get deported. The undocumented people they're living with is their parents. So if they find out you live with your parents, you're going to get deported?
It's crazy. Yeah, because it's
no, go ahead.
Yeah, it's the undocumented citizens. They're partially our backbones, if not partially our whole backbone, because they do the jobs we don't want to do. So yeah.
And on top of that, it's not even just doing the jobs that a lot of us don't want to do. It's also doing the jobs that you've been almost paying them slave wages for. And this is the part that scares me. This is the part because I feel like we keep on forgetting that slavery is legal through the prison system. So now that we don't have migrant workers so that they can pay slave wages to, what do you think is the next step? All of those people in jail right now, and we are already the demographic that's mostly in the Florida prison system. And there are so many private Florida prisons, it's almost disgusting. Let's think about what's going to happen. They're going to start having to pick the vegetables. And that way, guess what? Now Florida doesn't have to pay shit. You can go. We will already get everything together through the slave labor of the prison system. I feel like people don't fucking hear me, dog.
Yeah, that's why, why do you think Black Lives Matter, a whole bunch of Black people got arrested after those protests. Within the one day that a whole bunch of white people got mad and angry for no reason and went and stormed that Capitol, and the dang guy with the little horns on his head, I was like, if you don't sit your Buffalo Bill ass down.
Smearing they shit on the walls like animals. And they want to call us savages? I'm sorry, when I get upset, I don't take my own fecal matter and smear it on places when I'm upset. That's never been, maybe throw something. What the fuck?
Right.
It's
while we were getting pepper sprayed, while we were getting maced, while we were getting hit, while we were getting shot, while we were getting all sorts of backlash.
We already know what would have happened if everyone at that Capitol was Black. They would have brought fucking tanks out.
100%.
Yes.
They brought out tanks in Denver when I was in the 2020 protests. They brought out tanks. That's also when I learned I needed to do more cardio. A nigga runs real slow. That was like slow motion. I was like, oh girl, this is not gonna work. I was like, I'm gonna get caught. This is why I'm leaving. Because I don't have the cardio to run. I don't got it no more. Now, before we go ahead.
DeSantis has also signed another bill sweeping a range of anti-LGBT laws targeting drag shows in Florida, which bathrooms people can use, gender-affirming care, which includes transgender adults. So it's not about the kids. Once again, we know that because now trans people who are adults cannot have gender-affirming care now. And also pronouns. And also pronouns. So now school employees are unable to share their pronouns with students or ask them what theirs are. So what the fuck are they supposed to do? Not say Miss or Mr. or like, I'm confused.
My thing is, does his hand hurt from signing all these bills? I'm like, dang, like what deal did you make in order to sign all these bills that pertain nothing to you? All you have to do was be a governor. That's all you have to do.
And the gag is these bills were signed at the Evangelical Cambridge Christian School in Tampa on May 17th, the same day as International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia.
And look at the timing.
And then right here in Texas too. I'm in Houston, Texas. And when I was looking at all the ballots, I was like, y'all gonna vote for Abbott again? Why are we voting for Abbott again? Didn't he do nothing with gun laws? Didn't he do like piss y'all off with abortion? What is happening? What's going on? And then especially with my I love my Latin community. I love them so much. The hips don't lie. But I'm just like I'm just like, y'all are one of the main oppressed ones in the United States as well, not as oppressed as us Black people, but y'all are one of the most oppressed people in America.
Yes.
And y'all are voting for Abbott, Trump, DeSantis, all of these. I'm like, stop.
And I'm from Florida, so seeing like especially the Cuban community, like I hate to take it back because you know I'm old, right? I remember the dry foot law. I remember that any Cuban that got onto American soil in Florida would be a citizen. A Haitian can come up right behind them and get deported. We know why you voted Republican. But I saw a video the other day that I shared with Erin, and it was a Black woman who was saying, I kind of view myself as somewhat of like a bigger sister, somebody who's just been here a little bit longer than you guys. I know that you think that your proximity to whiteness is going to do something for you, which is why you keep on voting against your own self-interest. But I've just been here a little longer, and I'm just letting you know that's not how it's going to work.
It never works.
And the Latin community continue to vote against their own self-interest every time.
And I saw there's a talk show called the Sherry Shepherd Show. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but
yes. The replacement for Wendy Williams. How you
right? Yes, because she still got big boobs and no ass, so it's okay.
She's still shaped like a letter P, so I mean, why not?
Right. There was an author as a guest. I forgot her name. I wish I remembered. But there was an author as a guest, and she's biracial. She's half Black and half Latin. And guess what the mama did? The mama, after she birthed her, left because the family was like, it's either that Black baby or it's your family. And the mom went to her family. And now, since the daughter has all this success as an author, entrepreneur, and so on and so forth, she still doesn't acknowledge that she is her daughter. And I'm just like, just because she's half Black, what is going on with this country? What is going on with y'all? No hate to my Latin community, but do better, because you over here calling us monkeys and stuff, And then me being a half substitute teacher, hearing the Latin community say the N-word, I'm like,
Constantly.
oh, no.
Constantly. And let me tell you something, I just want to say that you Black folks, you fat Joe lovers, hey, Remy Ma, it is never gonna be okay for anybody who does not claim being Black to say the N-word. Period. It's never gonna work. And let me tell you something, if you do it in public and you getting beat up, even if I know you, I'm gonna walk away. You're gonna, you gonna get lumped up by yourself.
It's like, oh, but I'm not white, so I can say it. No, ma'am. This is why I say stop lumping in Black people with people of color. It's people of color and it's Black people.
Facts. Facts. Because it's still very different lives we lead.
Yeah,
and even though there's a lot of intersections, like we are very triggered by things like the migrant laws because we know what slavery looks like. We know what this looks like. We know that they basically replaced Black slaves with brown slaves, literally. But now they're just paying them some cents on the dollar. And now they're don't even want to pay them the cents on the dollar. They're like, hey, we have a whole slave force through the prison to go ahead and do it. So at this point, they're basically this, like, it's insane to me right now because I feel like, again, people aren't scared enough for me because we are turning this into slave catcher country. And now the overseers are going to look like us. That's the only difference that's going to happen. And I don't understand why people are not more afraid.
Yeah, they're more scared of us than we are of them. Because think about it, back then we had our own communities all up and down the United States after slavery was so-called abolished. And after what happened to Black Wall Street, after what happened to a lot of New York, to a lot of New York Black communities, they turned a Black community in New York, I forgot its name, I should know it, but they turned a Black community in New York into the Central Park. Central Park is built on top of a Black community. I'm like, and that's what happened to a lot more Black communities, and they covering up with man-made. Yes, and I'm just like, y'all are crazy. And then plus we have famous activists, Black activists who are queer, and we only talk about James Baldwin. There's lots.
And there were so many. There were so many that were queer. It's actually like it's almost an erasure even of a lot of the amazing things that Black queer people did for this movement, especially since a lot of us started these movements. Just gonna go ahead and put that out there. But let's go ahead and go.
They don't like to hear that. They get mad as hell when you hear that. They still mad at my video I made on TikTok a long time ago when I was talking about Malcolm X being bisexual, and it's in his biography. You can read about it, and they were pissed about it. Like it's the fact. Like y'all cannot. They want to
a sex worker. Like, what do you want?
Because once again, I feel like a lot of cishet Black folks think that queerness is strictly a white thing. So they really try to keep it separated. No, you cannot. Black queer people exist, have always existed.
and truly will always exist despite whatever the fuck you want. Now moving on to the next topic, man. I'm just looking at Bishop T.D. Jakes and his red pill ideologies, and I'm just thinking to myself, this is why I'm not a Christian. This is why.
Is that the same man who is like, y'all women are turning into men?
I'm actually, yes, and I'm actually about to play the video right now.
Please do. In fact, what an awesome segue. Let's get into it, baby.
A TD Jakes video.
It's gonna be rough this morning, bro.
Recently, a clip of TD Jakes went viral in which he makes a critique of gender role dynamics in contemporary society.
We are raising up women to be men. You are not applauded for your femininity. You are applauded in the contemporary society for how rough, nasty, mean, aggressive, hateful, possessive you are, and you are climbing the corporate ladder, but we are losing our families.
As always, what I'm going to share is less about one person than it is about church culture as a whole. The message was preached on Father's Day of this year and was entitled Real Men Pour In. It was largely about role inflexibility, that both men and women have unique divine designs that when disrupted causes things to fall apart. He says this has been an issue since Adam and Eve.
If Adam had not allowed Eve to pour into him, sin would have never come into the world.
And he connects this patriarchal interpretation of the creation story to contemporary society.
Your self-esteem is compromised when you have to ask your wife for lunch money. When Adam started eating out of his wife's hand, sin came in because the divine order was broken.
There's so much to say on this, but here's a few points. T.D. Jakes said that women are being raised to be men, and these are the traits he goes on to associate with masculinity.
Rough, nasty, mean, aggressive.
He then says that women have to create space for men to pour into their lives from their rightful masculine roles. He basically says women have to shrink themselves in order for men to come in and be their leaders. And my question is, why is it the responsibility of women to shrink themselves in order to make space for men? It's because this is not about women being raised to be men or climbing the corporate ladder. It's about control. In the eyes of patriarchy, there can be no relationship without control. Men aren't shying away from marriage and relationships. They want those things. And studies show that they're happier when they have them. That's why they've created entire platforms dedicated to educating and teaching women about their roles. It is women that are opting out of toxicity, control, and suppression under patriarchy. Women are opting out of all the traits Pastor T.D. Jakes associated with masculinity for their own sake. Can I be very clear? Women are not inferior to men and they don't want to be treated as such. Women by and large want partnership. Men under patriarchy want servitude and submission, and that is a disconnect. And this kind of role inflexibility is rooted in white supremacy. Messages like these leave women in the church vulnerable to violence and abuse and create space for men to theologically rationalize that abuse. And as a man whose church was both built and sustained by Black women, T.D. Jakes and others like him need to be far more mindful of their theology and words. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments and like and
Girl, I'm glad that he said something that really stood out, which I feel like, to be honest, when he said that in the eyes of patriarchy, there can be no relationship without control. And unfortunately, a lot of cishet Black men think that patriarchy includes them. Patriarchy was not made for Black men. And that's the problem.
Right. My thing is, when T.D. Jakes said all of this, I was like, my hearing was like, what? and so when he said all this, I'm like, first of all, we're not supposed to raise our women to be strong. We're not supposed to raise them to be smart. We're not supposed to raise them to be independent, because like there comes a time where there's strong, independent women who like to show their feminine side, but it's like they don't have to show it to everybody. They don't have to, because it's like when they own their own companies, like all the time, it's like, I'm called a bitch, I'm called a this, I'm called that. I'm like, they're just being a boss. Just like Taylor Swift. If I was the man, there'll be nothing for people to say. But now since I'm a woman, it's like, oh, you're too strong on this and you're doing too much on that. It's like, no, they're doing the same thing that men are doing.
No,
They're
100%.
just right. And I'm just like, also with him trying to say be submissive, I'm like, there's women who have more at stake than what men do in some relationships, because some of them, they actually own their own businesses, they actually do their bookings and stuff, while sometimes the man could be a stay-at-home husband. I don't have no problem. If you provide that income, I'm gonna clean the house. I don't care. But,
Listen,
yeah.
I feel like, first of all, I feel like we have to break down like these stupid ass gender roles to kind of begin with. That just seems so silly. Like the shit seems so silly. Yo, when this man said, as soon as Adam was eating from Eve's hand, I'm sorry. It weakened him. I was like, lunch weakened? That's first. And then secondly, I need Christians to stop pretending that the Bible makes sense. Because the shit don't make no fucking sense, bro. Literally, Adam, Eve, the only people, right? And they had 2 sons. Where the rest of the people come from?
It's giving incest.
For me,
was Mama just taking it all? You know what? Fine, don't answer that. That's fine.
no, wait, because for me, it was like, because after they ate the fruit, well, my thing is the fruit wasn't fruit. For me, I think the fruit was sex. But it's like
More than
the
likely.
serpent. The serpent. I'm just like serpent. For me, if I had the choice of not to have the fruit and live all this life right now, I'm just like, look, hold up, I ain't doing that. But I got it.
But even more than that, oh,
Right
I'm
now.
sorry, omnipotent God, why would you do that in the, why is there a whole fucking tree that's gonna make me awful?
Right.
Here, well, I wanted to give you a choice. You're omnipotent and you know every goddamn thing. So wouldn't you like see it don't make no fucking sense. And then we got people like TD Jakes who just speak in a cadence and they make sure to say it in such a way that it feels like they always making a point. You never know what kind of point they're making. You don't even know where the point is coming from, but a point will be made.
As long as you say it in a certain type of tone and rhythm, it's going to move Black folks in the church, and it don't matter what you're saying. And he could be saying these same red pill alt-right talking points. They're not going to see it that way.
But do you see how Christianity seems to be like a pipeline to
Yeah.
alt-right?
Yeah, and
Just
those
in general?
are the type of people. Those are the type of people who drive people away. and you know, I think his main thing is he just mad. He mad because he's older and he don't understand. He doesn't understand and doesn't want to take time to understand what we're progressively doing as a community, which is trying to grow instead of suppress our emotions.
And oppress.
Right. And so I'm just like, you're mad because we're not sticking to the same ways that things used to be. And things, the way that things used to be, I watch all these documentaries on our famous Black folk and Black men. I'm just like, dang, y'all love to hit y'all women, don't y'all? It's like, wow. So you want to be able to get away with that again. You want to be like, hey bitch, get yourself back into, because I know he curses, because Kirk Franklin, when I heard that argument, I was like, oh God. But
Listen.
He's like, hey bitch, get back into the room so I could rape you. Because just because you married doesn't mean it's consent. And
that's another law they're trying to roll back. They want to make sure there's no more no-fault divorces. So you can't say this is for unreconcilable differences. If one person doesn't want the divorce, you can't get divorced.
I feel bad for those scammers.
Oh my God. Now I want a green card marriages. It's okay. It don't work that way anyway. Donald Trump got rid of that. You can't even become a citizen through marriage. If anybody convinced you of that, poor girl, you just gave away the pussy for free. I apologize. It's unfortunate. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next subject. This one is called optimistic nihilism.
Yeah, optimistic nihilism, or nihilism just basically means, actually, let me be more accurate. I like to use like the actual definition, because I paraphrase the fuck out of everything.
You want to be accurate, you feel me?
You don't need no cancel cultures. Even though it's not real, but
I was about to say it's not real anyway.
So nihilism basically, which I've been looking more into optimistic nihilism, but nihilism itself means the rejection of all religious and moral principles and the belief that life is meaningless. Now, if you look up optimistic nihilism, it says the ability of a person to create his or her own meaning after fully accepting that the universe is a large place of meaninglessness. Basically what I've been doing ever since I quit this fucking job.
I was just about to say, have we been doing?
Basically, like, bitch, we are insignificant beings in this big ass universe. And when I die, it's just gonna be another Tuesday. So I'm gonna live my life right now.
Because people die every day and people are born.
It's not gonna be another Tuesday for maybe your loved ones, but for the rest of the world, like the sun will continue to rise until they get rid of that too, climate change. But we're like, the 24 hours is going to continue elapsing.
I told my
Optimistic.
mama that I quit, by the way. She got mad as hell. But I didn't give a fuck.
No, my
But
mom.
You
like-
told that Jamaican lady you quit? You could have lied to her. I'm sorry. I know this is going to sound terrible, but I'm very pro lying to Caribbean
Oh,
parents.
I am too.
Oh.
But no, because she pissed me off because she kept asking me questions that I'm like, you know what? I quit. So leave me alone. And she was like, well, now what you gonna do 5 years from now? And all this other shit. I said, I honestly just don't care. And that's why
Oh my God.
like I honestly like bitch. One thing about me,
Bombastic.
I believe that everything is figure outable. I'm gonna figure it out I'm taking it day by day. And that's
No,
where
you're
I'm
going to
at.
be able to figure it out. I'm more worried about her. Was she breathing after this? She
I
was
don't-
good when she got off the phone?
I don't care how she feel. You know, I don't fuck with my parents. They disowned me.
I know.
Mm.
I know.
But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Optimistic nihilism. Yes, we are insignificant beings. So bitch, take it day by day and do what you can in the moment. That's where I'm at right now.
It's true because I feel like I think we've all been kind of living in that kind of ideology without even thinking about it, because we know that there's so much that we cannot do. This is why places like this are our safe space, where we get to be able to say what's actually on our minds, because we know there's not a whole lot we can do about what the fuck is going on outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only so much that we can do. But then we've also realized that doesn't mean that I can't try and find my own happiness, even within that chaos. That doesn't mean that I'm going to stop accomplishing things, but now I'm just not accomplishing it for other people. I'm not accomplishing it for capitalism. I'm not accomplishing it for my parents. That's really the difference.
And I have a video to play. She talks pretty good about it.
Yay, let's do it.
Nothing matters, okay? You're a random, insignificant speck that was thrown into a random, insignificant planet, and your insignificant life will go on for no reason.
Yeah.
And then it will end, and everything will continue as it did before you were even here.
Yeah.
As if you were never here.
Yes.
Because if you were never here, it would all still continue.
Yeah.
There's so much freedom
Yeah.
in just accepting that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to be anything. I don't have to do anything.
Mhm.
There is no story attached to my life. There's no reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
Even if I'm a failure, that is just as banal as being successful,
Yeah.
because no one cares either way. Either way, you're gonna die. Why do you care if you end up a bum or CEO?
How much humanity has obsessed over what happens when you die.
Yeah.
Because I think if we were all a bit more honest with ourselves, we could just accept, oh, it's just going to be Tuesday.
Yeah.
People are going to, the
Yes.
sun's going to come up, the trash guy's going to come, they're going to take up the trash, someone's going to fuck, people are going to move on. It's going to be the next day. That's what
Yeah.
happens when you die. The
Yes.
next day happens.
Yeah. It's also why I really love Taoism. I really find healthy the idea of just being a pebble in a stream.
Yeah.
Bitch, that's all you're here to do, because you're a pebble.
Right.
Like, you thought you were this big man.
Yeah.
You're just a pebble. And I think you can only really be a pebble in a stream when you detach from stories about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's also what Sartre is saying, like, detach from this idea that you are this thing.
Mm.
Because at immediately you live in bad faith. It's also acknowledging that, like, pebbles can't control the direction of a stream.
Mm.
It just goes where the stream goes.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? You're a pebble. I look at all these people doing patriarchy and building cities and
Yeah.
fucking conquering and being ambitious, and I'm like, babes, you're a pebble and you're in a stream.
Yeah.
What are we trying to do here?
Absolutely.
Being a big man.
Like, I know it's kind of dark, but it's like, it's so much freedom in like realizing that.
I feel like I laughed the entire time. I was on mute, but I think that I was dying the entire time because it is so ridiculously true. But you know how Africans are, like, this shit just gonna be said.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
me telling this to my Jamaican parents, they ain't trying to hear that shit. But
I'm just
this
a
is right
pebble.
now.
What you mean? Oh, you're a pebble in a stream now. Oh, with no degree. A pebble with no degree. Listen, we already know how that conversation is gonna go. We don't gotta figure it out.
Yeah,
But
might
for
be
the
like,
rest
oh,
of
what?
us, I know, right? But for the rest of us living in reality, isn't like that the realest shit you've ever heard?
Well,
Like,
yeah. For me, I've looked at it time and time, and then I'm just 22. I got goals to accomplish while I'm here. But there was on the podcast, See the Thing Is, I was listening to one of their guests. They're like, Steve Harvey told them, look at all those graves. Those are those are people who didn't accomplish all their dreams while they were alive. And I was like, oh, I I want to accomplish my dreams before I pass on, but I'm just like still,
but I
like
feel
she
like
said, I'm a
those two
pebble.
ideas, but I feel like those two ideas can actually live congruently. We can acknowledge how, I know this is going to sound terrible, we can acknowledge how our existence absolutely means nothing. And also acknowledge that we have dreams that we want to acquire. I actually feel like it means even more the dreams that we want to acquire. It just means it shouldn't mean anything else in the span of everything else. Do you know what I mean? Like we already have so much that is going on that people want us to accomplish, whether it's capitalism, our parents, Instagram models, whatever is telling us to accomplish this thing, that the only goal that should matter is the one that's for you.
Mhm.
Like that's at least how I see it. Because I think at one point, especially when I was younger, I would have heard that and been like, nigga, I got dreams. I got shit to do. What you mean I ain't nobody, bitch? Like I know, because I know what you talk, I know what you feeling. But I feel like that those two things can live absolutely congruently, because in that space, if we were to die, that it really wouldn't mean something for the rest of the world. That's why it's got to mean something to us.
That's why that's why it's called optimistic nihilism, not just nihilism, because
Mhm.
those things can be congruent. Yes, if we really think about it, we are insignificant beings in this universe, but that doesn't mean that, but knowing that, that's why we should start now with our dreams instead of like, oh my God, let me do what everyone else, let me do what
When
I
I'm
have to
ready,
make everyone
I
else
can't
happy.
do
Instead of
Right.
like doing what I want to make me happy starting now. I don't want to have to wait till I'm 65 to retire to live my life.
Yeah, because you're gonna kill yourself, not suicide, sorry. But you're gonna kill yourself trying to do what other people think that they want you to do. And I'm just like, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for me. Just so for
exactly.
my sanity, for my tranquilness. I don't want to do this for you because this makes you happy. It's my feelings, and you either like it or you don't. It's just like, but then also I'm just like, I am a pebble. And I'm looking at everybody, I'm like, dang, you're doing this, you're doing that. Maybe I should get, no, I'm gonna cut it, cut it. I need to do what makes me happy. And if what makes
Exactly.
me happy uh, is like maybe climbing a mountain, that's what the fuck I'm gonna do. So yeah.
Exactly, that, you know what I'm saying. And I feel like when some people hear it, if they're not really prepared to hear something like that, they would have an adverse reaction. But for me, I feel like it's one of those analogies that almost makes me get my shit together. You are just a pebble. What are you doing it to make it matter to you? Are you waiting on somebody for something? Were you waiting on something in order to go ahead and pull the trigger in your own life about what you want to be doing next? Like that's what it makes me think, because we are so insignificant. So why aren't you doing what you want?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I see it. That was a great topic, Aaron. Okay.
Because most people would like freak out, like me telling the average person, hey, I quit my job and no, I haven't been looking. They would be like, are you crazy? Like, oh God, what's wrong with you? But
What you gonna do?
the way I view my life, like I would say I thought smart, like, girl, I have a cute coin in my account right now. It's enough to get me for the rest of the month at least. Well, to be honest, 4 months, but I ain't gonna do that. But yeah, it's like, girl, why would I'm not living my life for y'all. I'm living my life for me. And I know like all this shit is the matrix. Bitch, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do.
Because
And
we see on the Shade Room or Hollywood Unlocked, it's like, oh, a celebrity died today. And like, oh, sad. Prayers.
sorrows, prayers,
Yeah.
sorrows.
And
Oh,
then
school shooting. Oh, Wednesday.
See that one, and I'm just like, why? I don't want to go into it. It's just white supremacy and white, just white.
Listen,
Um,
it goes a whole lot deeper, but I think that's why it's so important for us to have these kind of conversations, because I want Black queer people to know, we already know that capitalism has got us all in a fucking chokehold. We all gotta have a day job. And if you don't got savings, you gotta be working because niggas gotta eat. So we are 100% all there for that. And I think we need these spaces in order to give us a reset, to ask us, what do you really wanna be doing? Is there something you really want to be doing right now? Because if you're doing something for somebody else and not living for yourself right now, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, because your grave does not have a bunk bed. You do that shit on your own. So you need to be happy with every single choice and decision that you made. And I refuse to be laying in on my deathbed to be like, oh, I don't know why I didn't continue. That man just said he was going to be my husband. So I thought it was a good idea that I put my dreams on hold. Girl, you don't drink some water and say a prayer. The fuck is wrong with you? Like, so I think that that's the reason why I think that those things are super important. And thank you, Aaron. That was an awesome topic. Before we move on, I just want to make sure I say that shit. Okay.
yes.
Moving on to the next one.
Well, we both.
Oh, go ahead.
Elon Musk says you poors need to go back into the actual buildings and do your fucking jobs. You poor fuckers. He didn't say it like that, but that's what he meant.
That's easy. That's easy for him to say since he's a multi-billionaire.
You know what I mean? So by the way,
I'm going to play the video because he thinks that it is immoral to work from home.
There are some exceptions, but I kind of think that the whole notion of work from home is a bit like the fake Marie Antoinette quote, "Let them eat cake." It's like really, you're going to work from home and you're going to make everyone else who made your car come work in the factory. You're going to make the people who make your food that gets delivered, that they can't work from home. The people that come fix your house, they can't work from home, but you can. Does that seem morally right? That's messed up.
You see it as a moral issue?
Yes.
I mean, I see it more as
it's a productivity issue, but it's also a moral issue. People should get off the goddamn moral high horse with the work from home.
So you exploit people from your home. I'm confused.
My thing is, certain jobs cost for certain functions. So I'm just like, if I have the luxury of working at home, then I'm gonna take that option. But if my job is in construction and I gotta go out and build a building, of course I gotta go out to do that. But it's, on one hand, it's very, very, very insulting for you as a billionaire to say, oh, people shouldn't work at home. People should just be going out and wasting their gas and wasting their money to come to the corporation and work in person when all they do is sit in the cubicle and answer phones. Ta-da!
And they're not paying for the fuck that they're not going to give us gas money or anything like that. Some people have to drive hours, hell, even 2 hours to get to work every day. But you have this rich fucker talking about, oh my God, y'all are being immoral from working from home.
It's gaslighting at its finest. It's gaslighting and it's very, very manipulative. Even the way that he phrased it, he literally phrased jobs that could not be done at home. He didn't say, oh, all the medical billers and all of the assistants, they got to go in. No, those jobs could be done at home. And this is also the same man who said he is Blacker than I am because he was born in South Africa. So we need to understand the source from whence it comes. That's first. But secondly, the reason why, one of the biggest reasons why I know that this is complete manipulation is because how much money are companies paying out to keep those buildings open that they are saving now that people are working from home? How much profits? Because overhead is no joke. That's still water, light, utilities. That's still cable. That's still Wi-Fi. That's still all of the IT people. We still keeping a whole building open for people who could work from home. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that sound like that saves money? Doesn't that sound like that would actually help the economy, but somebody is trying to tell you something that is the complete opposite of anything that makes sense. And you're still going to have some Velveeta Voldemort follower go ahead and say, you know what? I think he's right.
This is how we know. This is how we know billionaires live and poor people live in two different realities, worlds. They cannot relate to us. They try to relate to us so bad. They can never and will never be able to. We have a billionaire living in a country with one of the highest homeless populations talking about morality. Get the fuck out of my face. And then, like, how can you not sit here and say, we already getting exploited? Hell, some of us working in factories and fucking dangerous ass work conditions. Bitch, we doing what the fuck we can for our mental health. So, bitch, if I'm gonna work at home, I'm gonna work at home while your rich ass stays in your fucking mansions.
Right. Because, like, we don't get paid enough, first of all. I'm just like, yo, stop. Just stop talking because you sound stupid. Because I'm just like, I'm over it. That's why we have more of an influx of entrepreneurs. That's why I'm trying to get my business off the ground so I don't have to work for nobody. And then when it becomes for me to be a boss, I'm gonna be the most reliable boss ever because I'm just like, this is an example of what not to do. And I'm just like
learning from all of their mistakes, their constant mistakes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, you need to communicate with your therapist and get it together because it seems like a control complex right now. So I don't understand.
Oh yeah. No, this is definitely micromanaging at its finest because they're trying to make working from home seem like a luxury. I'm still working. I'm just saving on gas and lunch.
But we need your slave asses in the building making us a profit because we don't want to actually use these buildings as homeless shelters and people and housing. We can't have that happen. So we need your asses to come to work.
Yeah.
Child.
Because for me, sometimes I'm like, how do I even make it from day to day? I got 2 quarts on my in my gas. 2. I'm like, what? Why? How am I supposed to get through the day?
Like they really try to make certain things seem like luxuries and they're not luxuries at all. And I feel like it's really sad that we try to brainwash the world that someone's doing me a favor. All your work is getting done, bitch. What favor's happening? You know what? It's fine.
You know where it starts though? It starts in the school. It starts in the school system. Because like once I started getting into the school system, I was like, oh, so it's like factory work. Cool. Love that. Not really. But so yeah, but I'm in college right now and for architecture and interior design. So I can be my own boss. But it's just like I look back, I'm like, why was I going so hard for these grades? Like I really didn't need to when there's so many other opportunities out there. So
other things like, wow. I could have been doing, but y'all were trying to convince me of some bullshit. So I'm just like, well, I want to be successful, so I'll take your advice. The fuck? I can't. Elon Musk is a piece of shit.
Yeah, you know how many times I wanted to be on Kid Spot, but I was like, no, I had to go to school. I could have been a Kid Spot kid. You know how many times
I could have been a Kid Spot kid?
You know how many times I wanted to be Billie Eilish? She was famous at 17, and I was talking to my friend, we 17 and we in school. Billie Eilish is doing worldwide concerts. What is going on? So yeah.
Yo. Okay, so for the last topic of the night, first of all, I know all of us are music lovers here. We all absolutely adore music to the nth degree. It's definitely a passion. So is male R&B music dying? Before we get into it.
According to, first of all, I want to say one of the worst things that can happen is letting straight Black men have podcasts. I'm going to play this clip and so you'll know why I titled it that.
No.
R&B music has been killed by the feminine movement. The stars are all women.
Yeah.
There's no male R&B stars, but here's why. There's nothing a male R&B singer can say that has been said in the past that's not considered toxic masculinity. I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go. Today, that's considered toxic masculinity. Listen to Keith Sweat, Wrong in the Right Way. You may be young, but you're ready. Today, that would be like, excuse me?
Yeah, that
Is this some
That'd have been crazy.
pedophilia? If you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight, girl. That's gaslighting in today's world. Tell a man does anything manly, it is considered toxic masculinity, as is killing the male R&B voice because he doesn't have anything to sing about anymore.
I think love, though.
We didn't build our
But
shit.
it used to be about love.
Confession is also his biggest album. It's about a nigga cheating. R&B.
In the words of the Shade Room, thoughts?
Hold on. So my first thought is, so Luther Vandross just like didn't exist, right? Because he brings out the lyrics where you're like, yeah, I refuse to let you go. It's some toxic shit. I should be able to leave, right? Or like he's literally bringing up lyrics that would like age ain't nothing but a number. Yeah, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a like you're upset that people are evolving. That's first off. But secondly, there are so many love songs that have nothing to do with taking away my consent, Pepe Le Pew.
Right. Right.
Like what are you talking about? Like you never heard of Luther Vandross, you never heard of Chica DeBarge, you never heard of like, are you serious?
My thing is, why does our community still love R. Kelly? I'm just saying, because I test my customers all the time at work with 2 R. Kelly songs. And then I skip them right away. I like skip, and they're like, oh, I'm like, what? Excuse me. So I'm just like, so y'all are still being taught incorrectly. Okay, yeah, not incorrectly, but more so
Incorrectly. You think that rape culture is a little bit okay. You're just
Right.
like, I don't know what the problem is. He was a different kind of guy. Like, oh, banging bitches and shitting on them and making them eat it. That's just a different type of guy.
Right,
Okay,
because like when
cool.
I saw that busted Wendy Williams Aaliyah movie, I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, y'all
That
will really
was so
sign
bad.
y'all really sign your 15-year-old daughter onto this grown ass man? Who are
Like
y'all?
parents?
Get some money. Y'all should get some.
It was
So-
her choice though. Like she chose to be in that situation, and like I'm pretty sure they signed some documents or something.
The pussy don't even smell yet. She can't make decisions, nigga.
Right.
What's wrong with you?
They were thinking
I'm sorry.
anything.
I
child.
can't.
They were
can't.
thinking anything.
I'm just like, so, and it's relevant in culture still. It's like, hey baby, I know you 12, but you wanna get with me? I'll pay for some stuff.
Mhm.
No,
Okay,
no,
Marcus
stranger
Houston.
danger, stranger danger.
Or it's, hey, I'm Leo 12 years old, but you can't wear that because you know how your uncle get when he come over. You gotta put on wear this because it'll be your fault if he tries anything on you.
Don't be fast now. He can still come over for dinner even though he's on the registry, but you got to put on pants. Like, nigga,
Okay.
what are we talking about?
He helping paying these
But I'm
bills, so
comfortable.
you need to stop being easy.
Yeah. Better yet, you need to touch my daughter. See what happens. You'll ask. It's Texas. You're gonna get shot.
Listen, not in Texas, bro. But you know what sucks about that? Even saying that, those laws only apply to white folks. As soon as black people use any of that shit, we don't get any of that privilege. We could be like, yes, guns. Sorry about the babies. Y'all have to figure it out. Deuces. It doesn't matter how much we on their side. If we are ever defending ourselves with a gun and we end up killing somebody, we're going to be under the jail. And the NRA is going to be like, bombastic side.
I could bet you $1 million a black woman getting raped in front of millions of people still get passed. But no, Martha Stewart as, oh, no, don't do it. Oh my gosh, no, stop. Oh, wait, you need help? You need help? Oh, I'll call the police.
Listen, okay, now, listen, I just have to say, Martha Stewart should have never went to jail in the first place. She just got some good information and she used it. That's some nigga shit. I'm okay with that. Why wouldn't you use information someone gave you? So that, oh, don't do that. You're going to lose your money. Don't do that, Martha. You're going to lose your money. She's like, okay, cool. And then she went to jail. I thought that was some bullshit, if we going to be honest. You know, I'm not really pro white woman, but I am pro scam and getting away with shit.
Yeah.
So I feel like she should have got away with that. I do.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, but she looked good in Sports Illustrated. I love her. But going back to the music, when I listen back, I'm like, ecstasy was that drug, and it still is that drug. And I'm just like, and they stayed in the song. It's like, I'm gonna get you with that ecstasy. It's like it must be the E. I'm just like, well, wow.
Gave her a little Molly. She ain't even know it. I had a good time. She ain't even know it. Okay, Rick
Exactly.
Ross.
I'm just like, I don't even want to meet y'all no more. Stop.
I know.
And another thing is, if male R&B is dying, I'm just like, stop your pussies up, okay? Because I'm just like, women.
Hey,
I'm
Women
sorry,
are-
but like, let's be honest. Like, Black women, especially now, have just the talent and the creativity is there. I'm not going to go to now. I will go see Usher, but all these other male, and I will see Doreen Bernard. But we have male R&B singers, but it's not the ones that can get away with saying fucked up shit, and that makes them upset.
Right,
absolutely.
'cause you got Chris
and
Brown.
and the male ones who are doing amazing, like Duran Bernard, who's like gender fluid. They don't want to get behind the amazing music that nigga is making right now just because of how he presents. So don't tell me R&B is dead. Tell me you're toxic without telling me you're toxic. I want to be able to talk about bitches not having choices and it be okay again.
If it doesn't have anything to do with the Black cishet patriarchy of it all, they don't want to hear it.
It really do we not remember Drew Hill? Drew Hill was coming out with some bangers, sleeping in my bed, messing with my head. Are you about to tell me R&B is dead? Still alive. Let me tell you something. As soon as they go on tour, a bitch gonna be in the front. Talk about 5 steps. Do you think it's not a joke? I actually find this very insulting as a music lover. I'm not even gonna lie. I find the whole idea that R&B is dead as really insulting because I feel like you're just not listening.
Right. Brent Fayez is out here. my new bitch look like Jackie Brown. Okay. So I listen to Brent Fayez. I listen to the male R&B that's like really innovative, but then also it's taking me back to the 90s, even though I wasn't born in the 90s. But I wish I was. But I love music that can move you, but you could also engage with it. It's like, oh, you meant that. Like Nikki, I love her. It's like, oh, hey, you're funny because I get your in the window. In your window. But it's like going back to the 90s, the 80s, hell, even the 70s. I'm like, I really can't stay. Baby, it's cold outside. No, I can't stay.
No, for real. And you take that song, but come on, as if song, you got me going in circles. I'm like, who are you with right now about no R&B? Get me upset. Like, how dare you? Like,
you know, the one song, Tonight is the Night. Whitney Houston, but tonight is the night with Denzel Washington in the video. I was like, y'all, why is she singing for a married man? I was like, and then so I had tested my mom. I was like, my mom hates the SZA song, The Weekend. I was like, why you hate the song? She was like, she not gonna take my. I was like, Mom, she not talking about your man.
She's not taking him on Saturdays and Sundays. I heard what the fuck she said. Okay,
Right.
I didn't agree to that. Like, I feel you. So, I've been cheated on too, mommy. It's all right.
In all actuality, I feel the music is a vessel of just like speaking your mind and speaking your truth. And once you sing it, I feel like once you put it out there, it don't matter if you have an alter ego or anything, that's what you really meant. because that you had to, even though you had other writers or other people in that studio, you took that into consideration and be like, yeah, I fucks with that. Let me put it in the song so everybody else can sing it with me. And I'm just like, oh, because when Beyonce was like, I care, and then when she was like, sorry, I'm not sorry, I'm like, oh, I understand that.
I'm fucking with this. You feel me?
Yeah.
I feel like if you're talking about things that are quote unquote ruining R&B, I feel like straight men who have nice voices, straight Black men who have nice voices, try to be rappers later.
Mhm.
And after one R&B album, Tory Lanez, you just want to pretend to be a leprechaun rapper and it doesn't make any sense and it don't hit. And then you get upset with me when you pop out of your Crayola box with a new album and ain't nobody want to listen to it.
And you know what? That's why he should have said, because he said, oh, male R&B music is dying today. What he should have said was, I'm mad because we don't have R&B artists like an R. Kelly today, because we hold people like that accountable. We hold people like a Tory Lanez accountable now. We hold a Chris Brown accountable for the shit that they do and say.
And I don't like that. We
And
used
I
to
don't
be
like
able to
that.
let him go do whatever.
Because for me, I think of Chris Brown as a big brother. When ever since I was little, and then every time when he does something so stupid, I'm like, big brother, why? It's just like
Chris Brown, aka Crickety Crack. I was there during Run It. I was doing it. I was very much, I was in it. I was. And because we always admit our toxicities in the past on this show, when the first thing happened with Rihanna, I remember sitting back and being like, well, you know, Asian women, you know, they be crazy sometimes. Bruh,
oh,
that's what I said. Days after. When I saw the photo, then I was like, ooh. I thought, because I grew up with knowing that my grandparents used to box outside in their underwear sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a space where, you know, my grandmother went ahead and like shoved my grandfather through a plate glass window and broke his ribs. Do you know this man waited till he healed and he fixed that plate glass window just to throw that bitch outside it? It's terrible. And when you grow up thinking that any little bit of that is normal, you hear stories like that and you think, well, I mean, she was kind of like nagging him a little bit.
it's like, yeah, like
1 in 3 people have herpes, bitch. What's your next issue? Like, like,
oh,
it is.
yeah. Then I'm just like, with Chris Brown in that Rihanna fight, I was like, I looked at the documentaries and I was like, oh, Rihanna looked like she can throw hands. I was like,
You know,
and then I saw
the
pictures.
toxicity comes in and you're just like, because you're taught that, hey, sometimes women get a little crazy. And as a person with a fully formed pussy, for me to say that out loud, like that's normal, is bananas. That shows how deep the brainwashing really was.
It shows
Because
how
what
deep.
did we see Chris Brown
It shows
do?
how deep that we were. It shows how deep that we were taught to protect Black patriarchy at all costs, or patriarchy in general at all costs. It's like, it doesn't matter what happens. It's like we would think of anything to protect patriarchy, and I think that's where it comes from. But I'm glad that, because now you already know Chris Brown is on my sick and shut in list. And like,
Oh, anytime anybody works with Chris Brown, I'm like, nigga, why? Them or Kodak Black? What are we doing?
Oh,
we just
no.
taking out of the
Sorry,
Well,
garbage.
when I
sorry.
heard what it is, how much no.
up?
I'll hit solo version.
Doechii, you know she had to come out with just that song without his part because
Yes.
all of us bitches who be fucking with Doechii was like, he doesn't even like you.
Don't even
He
get us
doesn't
started
like
on,
you, girl. You're not light enough, girl. He doesn't like you. Same
don't
thing
get
with
us
In her mind,
started
she
on
was
the
like, I
baby.
wouldn't go out with this cockroach looking nigga anyway. Who cares? But the thing is, he's feeling all up on you in the video like he wants you or something when he said with his whole full bird chest, he said that shit, oh, I don't date women with my color.
Right. And that goes back to colorism. That's why I painted a picture. I was like, this is green, black, ebony. And then people were like, what does this painting look like? Represents. I was like colorism. Black dark skinned women need to be in the front sometimes, most of the time,
Mhm,
all the time.
mhm.
So because like that's another backbone of the community. And when I saw the baby and his trifling ass, good dude, Danny Lee like that, I was like, wow, y'all,
Is it
no.
have y'all noticed that? Because I notice a lot of black gay men still listen to the baby. And I'm like, girl, it doesn't make any sense
Do
to
they
me.
really?
Yeah.
It's especially like it's okay. I know because I went to a ball and they were playing some of his. I'm like, girl, what's going on? Like, girl, he don't like our
That
baby
age would look
dances.
right. I'm like, what?
And now I noticed that the baby trying to make some house beats now. Girl, y'all, you just caught it like walking diseases a few months ago. Now everybody's trying to make house and ballroom beats. I see through the bullshit.
This is why when people had some and it wasn't a lot of people, but I did have respect for the ballroom people who weren't upset with Megan Thee Stallion, but wanted it to be more known, like with her song Her, which is obviously fully ballroom. Like it's like we're not gonna pretend that's not a ballroom fucking song. I'm her.
She said, I've been on 2
Come on.
seasons of Legendary.
That's my girl.
And
I love
obviously, I
it.
feel like that she was just trying to pay homage to people that she respected, but I understood people saying like, you're putting this in the forefront, but you're not putting us as the ballroom, the Black queer people in the forefront, because this is something that we created. And I think that she did her best, but I think she's just young. But I understood why people had certain criticisms, because now something like even looking on the stage with Beyonce, they took that one white bitch off of Legendary, and that is basically the full face
Actually,
of all of the tour. Like other than the Let's twin, that
And-
like, and then how are you going to make the face of ballroom a white woman?
Mhm.
I'm just saying. Do you know what I'm saying? So I understand when people have, those critiques, because it's a Black queer thing. It's a Black queer thing, period. And Beyonce, I love you.
Yeah.
You could have picked from a lot of people off of the Legendary cast. I want to say there was a lot of houses with a lot of talented people. But you wanted to get the one who was going to be more commercial.
We love Honey Balenciaga, but we gotta come
But we
on.
also have to be, I don't got a problem with her. I think she's
Yeah.
really talented, but I also know where it comes from and who needs to be the face.
Right.
I can do two things at one time. But listen, Honey is amazing down. We're not going to pretend a bitch ain't got talent. That would just be stupid for me to say. However, there are so many Black queer people who are just as talented or more that could have taken that spot, period. That's how I feel.
Yeah, just because like when I saw the dancers, I was like, cool, we got some Black, but where are the rest of them at? So I'm just like, but I still love it. I'm going to the concert, but I'm just like,
you got Renaissance tickets?
yeah, I did. I get in
I'm
the
going
outfit,
to see her new one.
but I'm just like, I got on the list the first time, and I was like, if I'm not getting on this list, I don't want to go. But I got on the list the first time, but other than that, I'm just like, I saw the dancers, I saw parts of the show, which I don't like, but I saw parts of the show, and I was like, where's Ashley?
Oh, I got
where's
now.
the Black one?
The tea is she fired Ashley because apparently Ashley was liking hate comments, and Parkwood and Beyonce found out about it, and that's why she fired her. That's the
I feel like, first of all, it's Beyonce. Nigga, I don't know what the fuck you thought. Liking hate?
she see everything.
She's in the shadows. With her
That
crystal.
bitch, she barely even speaks.
Speaking
But
of
she's power.
Beyonce,
Leave her alone.
speaking of Beyonce, she just dropped the remix to America Has a Problem
Really?
with Kendrick Lamar.
Really?
Yeah.
They're best friends at this point. They're best friends. But for me, I'm just like, music is such a powerful thing. You just gotta watch what the fuck you say, because there are things inside that music that will just give you the goosebumps and makes you convince you about certain things. Like when I hear country music, I'm just like, help them, please help them, because it's opening up those acceptabilities of like, hey, I could be racist and drink my beer at the same time. Hey, I could be racist, but I also have a friend that's like oblivious to their own race, and because they'll be like, I'm not Black, I'm Dominican, and they're not ready for that conversation.
Oh God.
So,
Listen, we're not talking about the tokens that they take around and be like, Black, who?
right.
That's not what I put on my paperwork. But,
I'm like, girl, get put over by the police and see what they say.
Mhm.
They
right, right. But
Like,
one
hola,
more
no, you
thing,
Black Negro.
listen, but one more thing that I want to ask before we close out this topic and wrap up the show is, what do you think people are really missing? People like him are really missing in reference to male R&B music. Because I already see so much that's going on that's like amazing that's going on through R&B music. But do you think it's just his own privilege that's blinding him? Or do you think it's just his hatred? Like, what do you, like, just to get into the mind of a bigot for a second.
Yeah, I just think again, he's the conservative ideology of his viewpoints of music and red pill shit. Like, girl, I think that's what it comes from. It's giving very much like he probably likes Kevin Samuels.
Oh yeah, yeah. Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
He's probably listening to all of them.
Kevin Samuels. Oh, chills. It was so ironic. He died on a big girl.
Under a big girl who was a single mother with a job. I was like, sir.
It's a hypocrite. Hypocrisy.
Hypocrite. Sorry, excuse me. My bad.
But like answering your question, I just think that he's just stuck in his own way, and he's stuck in the mind of a closed off person and a closed off conservative. It's like while we're progressing, you can't stunt your growth. Like, you only are as big as the space that you let yourself in, and you're letting yourself into these small spaces, and that you're going to be ignorant and stupid to the things that you need to know in order to survive in this society. And that's not saying to, well, that is saying to disrupt your beliefs, because it's just like, you need to have respect for everybody, and you need to look at the full picture instead of the picture that you've been given and that you're looking at in a minuscule way. So I'm just like, look, just try to be more open, because you never know what you might learn. You never know what you might learn.
Right.
I think like I think as long as straight Black men think that patriarchy was made for them, they're not going to be open, because this is why we have dumbasses like this person saying things like, oh, the Black feminist movement is destroying Black male R&B. Because again, they think that they are included with the system of patriarchy. And I cannot stress this enough, girl, patriarchy and white supremacy go hand in hand. Why do Black men think that they are going to be a part of that?
And there's a difference between being a feminist and being a Black feminist. White feminism reminds me of the wives of the Second Amendment, or I mean, no, the wives of the Confederacy. That's what feminism reminds me of. Black feminism is something empowering, something that you could learn and see, hey, there's other people like me that are doing their shit. And I feel like that's what I feel.
And just again, like I said before, I'm sorry, Black women are just more talented to me vocally and just music wise and creativity. And if I go see them perform, they dance, they don't just stand on the fucking stage with a fucking plain white t-shirt and some chains on, not saying shit. I am more entertained.
Raising their arm like this.
Right, like, girl, I'm not gonna pay money to see that. Like, no, boring. I'm not paying money for that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I feel, but you know what? I think you brought up a really good point. Like, there's another aspect of this that we haven't been speaking about until Aaron just brought it up. Straight male performers are boring to watch Like, let's be real. Like Lil Nas X, almost every female performer, Fantasia, who takes off her shoes and running across the stage. Like, wherever the fuck is going on, we're putting on a goddamn show. Like, do you know who actually came close? Was Offset. I remember seeing a whole song with Offset. This nigga had dancers. He was doing the next shit. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you actually trying to put on a performance.
Now, the only straight who isn't problematic, the only black straight male R&B singer that I would go see perform, and I know gives a show, is Usher.
Yes, yes, 100%. You know who else who is a male rapper who will put on a good show? Kendrick Lamar. That man is very creative. He literally sets a stage. He tells a story, whether it was performing with Beyonce, performing by himself, whatever it is. I'm really always very happy to see him perform.
Let's not forget The Weeknd as well.
The Weeknd does know how to put on a show, but I will say, I can't listen to Weeknd no more because all that man does is whine.
Yeah.
Whine with some pussy.
Yes, yes. I'll listen to a good The Weeknd and Ariana Grande thing. So, but the last.
What race is Ariana Grande today? I hear she's Japanese. I don't know what's going on.
She's a fairy witch. She's on Wicked right now.
She's like Scarlett Johansson. I'm a tree. I'm not even human anymore. Don't even look. Stop.
My thing is though, Ariana Grande, even though people don't like to compare, but I do like the comparison of Ariana Grande and Mariah Carey, just because Ariana Grande has this certain thing to her where she supports her friends.
Okay, okay, well, child, I don't know what's going on with her and her support of other people, but I will say, I feel like the reason why that anybody would compare them is because it's very clear that Ariana Grande grew up listening to Mariah Carey and emulating her 100%.
Yeah,
so I feel like that's the only comparison that we could really make because Mimi is actually a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? And Ariana is just like, I slept with Big Sean. You know how big his dick is? I'm Black too. And that's
Italian.
You know what I'm saying? And that was different. But am I going to deny that Ariana Grande has got talent? I would be stupid, deaf, and dumb to pretend the bitch does not have lungs. Okay? Like, we're not about to go, the mic is always on when Ariana is behind it. We're not about to go ahead and pretend, but I'm still like, you used to be a white woman with red hair, Mary Jane. I don't know what's going on.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I am with Ariana, but I don't know how we got. we
just talking.
I know what I'm saying, right? Because that's what it's supposed to be. It's a conversation. But at any rate, I just want to say we actually got through all of our topics. High five, everybody. Okay. I really want to thank Marshall for coming on today. You have been an amazing interviewee and giving us all of your expertise and things that you've gone on in your life. And I really, really love the fact that you were here with us this evening. Like, it's been awesome. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for because as you can see, we a mess, child. So
and thank you for coming to be a mess with us. Okay?
We love a good stir of mess. So yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now this is the time for all of the shameless plugs. So Marshall, we go start with you. Go ahead and tell us where you are, where we can find you, where is your art? Let us know.
Well, I'm in Houston, Texas. So if you know any other spots in Houston, hit me up. But but I do have an art business. My art Instagram, but on Instagram is at Marshalls_custom art. It's Marshalls like the store _custom art together. But then I do have a modeling page that I don't go on to as much as I want to, but it's at M_A_BRADL, which is Brattle because I couldn't put my whole name. But that last part is BRADL. But thank y'all again for letting me on. I've been talking to Aaron so long. I'll be like, Aaron, I like your videos. Aaron, like I see her podcast. Like, Aaron, can I be on the podcast?
Come on, let's go.
And then I went on, Aaron, here's my art. look at my Look at my art. So I was like, am I annoying this person? Okay, look, I'm gonna just leave it. And then all of a sudden I got a text back like, hey, you want to be on a podcast? Oh, for sure. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah, I think yeah, because I think when you reached that, I think that was when during the time me and Sydney took like a month off. We took a break because girl, there was so much going on. But yeah, I was like, oh, you're gonna be the first one, and you are.
And you have been the first one. Listen, we've had other we only had Tony on as a host, like even from Stereo. You are our first like official like guest. So thank you for coming on. And of course, people, you know where to find us. All right, on a regular basis, and everything is going to be in the bio. This has been an awesome show. Thank you for anyone who is listening to the Earth is Ghetto podcast. Thank you for your Spotify listens. I hear y'all niggas is listening in Taiwan now.
Yep.
Hi, Taiwan. What the fuck?
Taiwan, listen to our black gay asses. We love to see it.
Oh,
Listen.
you know there's like some black folk over there in Taiwan.
Bruh, and big ups to all of the melanated Southeast Asians. Okay, thank you for all of your listens and all of your streams and everybody else around the world who is listening to us. Thank you so much for listening to the Earth is Ghetto podcast. As usual, just stay black and stay queer, and just remember that being queer is African. And we go see you in the next one. Peace.
Bye, host.
Bye.